Thank you very much for joining us on Nationwide. We're reaching you live from Abuja, and I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's begin with agribusiness. The federal government says it is committed towards ensuring that special agro-processing zones are established in the country as proposed by the African Development Bank. Now, this is coming as the African Development Bank set aside $300 million for the project. Let's hear from Musa Babali.
It is an agricultural development project designed by the African Development Bank towards upscaling agricultural productivity in Nigeria. The project is to be jointly funded by the bank, federal government, and participating states. Agricultural clusters are to be established in Abuja, Benue, Kano, and Ogun State under the program. The target crops are cereals, vegetables, cocoa, cotton, livestock including dairy and hides and skin. This forum is therefore organized for discussions on how the takeoff of the project will look like, as well as examine the commitment of the relevant stakeholders.
You need such collaboration between the agricultural sector and the industrial sector so that you can move the economy forward, you can create employment opportunities.
I would like to underline the invaluable support and contribution of the African Development Bank by setting aside the sum of $500 million for this initiative.
If plan is well executed, the construction of infrastructure for the special agro-processing zones will commence before August. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And to mining, the federal government has evolved new strategy for the mines and steel development sector that will ensure the payment of royalties by multinational companies operating in the country. Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Uche Chukwu Samson Oga, made this known during familiarization visit to Mina, Niger State. Dauda Mohammed reports.
Nigeria, with about 44 known minerals of commercial quantity spread across the country, has sadly not adequately benefited from its solid mineral sector, due largely to dependence on oil. The new policy thrust of the federal government in diversifying the economy from oil to agriculture and solid minerals necessitated the visit of the Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development to Mina as part of efforts at improving the mining sector and improving revenue generation. People may wonder why the visit to the 700 megawatts Zungeru hydroelectric dam, which is now about 80% completed. Well, the site houses one of the biggest quarry sites in Niger State, and royalty has not been paid to the federal government for over 6 years.
We are going to collaborate, synergize to see how we ensure that all the royalties due to federal government is paid for the interest of the nation.
Earlier, during a visit to the Niger State Governor, Abubakar Sani Bello, the Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development revealed that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 13% derivation to states from all royalties in the mining sector.
What we are saying is that even states can participate in mining by creating SPVs, using these SPVs as a proposed vehicle to be involved in mining.
With synergy, we're able to share ideas, we're able to share difficulties, and find long-lasting solution to most of the problems.
The Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development also had an interactive meeting with stakeholders in the mining industry in Niger State, where issues of the importance of community development agreement, land reclamation of mined areas, and Mining Act were discussed. In Mina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Earlier on the news on some of our bulletins, we had our correspondent doing the give us reports on the ongoing training of fire service personnel in Katsina State. We now join the Comptroller General of the Federal Fire Service, Ibrahim Lehman, live via telephone for more insight into the training. Comptroller General, good day.
Good day, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, what is the scope of the capacity building your men are being exposed to at the moment, and what are the goals of this training?
Thank you very much. When I came on board, I discovered that we have serious professional deficiency in firefighting. And one of the major reasons is that our officers, both federal and state-like training. So, having noticed that, I made proposal to the federal government to establish federal fire service training school in each of the three geopolitical zones. So, that of the Northwest, we were able to acquire
Okay, Controller General, there's another pressing issue. I'm talking about response to emergencies. That is one issue that I know the public look forward to in terms of changing the narrative. What would you say are your thoughts regarding that?
Thank you very much. The fire service in Nigeria, we are not in all the local governments of the country. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria. And both the federal fire service and state fire service were in less than 300 local governments. That means our response time cannot be better than what we are experiencing now. Only in places like Abuja and Lagos, our response is even better. Now we have 12 zones of federal fire services, and under this zone, we have 3 states comprising a zone, and each of these states in the zone has their state fire services, but they lack the capacity. And now we have our men with 125 trucks in each of these zones comprising 3 states. If we are to respond from the state hosting our appliances to other states, you know how many hours we are going to cover, because those states don't have the appliances. Only few state fire services are functional. Many are not functional. And so our response, we cannot do more than what we are doing now. The only advice we are going to give, or I'm giving to members of the public, wherever you reside, know the nearest fire station, you know their telephone number. And when our men go out for public enlightenment, try to get their telephone number so that in case there is emergency, you can now call them. 2, when they give you fire tips, you should observe fire safety regulation in your buildings, in your structures, so that the impact of fire will reduce, especially on lives and property. But for now, in fact, we cannot do better than what we are doing now. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much indeed. I know the public look forward to a time whereby this fire outbreak are put to a standstill. Thank you very much. And well done with the training to your fire servicemen. We've been speaking with the Controller General of Federal Fire Service, Ibrahim Lehman, live via telephone from Katsina State. Let's move on to other issues. Talking about security, the Nigerian Air Force says it has carried out another successful air raid in its ongoing and interdiction campaign dubbed Operation Rattlesnake 3. At Kirita Wulgo in Borno State. In a statement by NAF Director, Public Relations and Information Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole destroyed an Islamic State of West African province training camp at Kirita Wulgo on the fringes of the Lake Chad in the northern part of Borno State on 16 February 2020. This followed credible intelligence reports and surveillance missions which established that some structures within the settlement were being used by terrorists to house and train their fighters. Consequently, the Air Task Force dispatched an enhanced force package of attack aircraft to engage the identified locations within the settlement. The fighter jets took turns attacking the target area in successive passes, taking out the training facilities. And still on security, President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the latest round of attacks on farmers by bandits in Damkal and Sanwa villages in Batsari local government area of Katsina State, saying that killing people in the name of revenge is unacceptable. Reacting to the incident, which razed many homesteads with fire and killed many over the weekend, the president warns that no one in the country has a right to take laws into their hands by the way of self-help or revenge. The president stressed that local communities should hand over suspects to law enforcement authorities instead of melting out capital punishment, which creates a cycle of revenge and counter-revenge. He urged community leaders and the local authorities to continue to partner with law enforcement agencies that engender peace between farmers and herders. The president stressed that authorities must be allowed to investigate and deal with any breach that occurs, as there is no place for violence in a decent society. President Buhari prayed God to comfort families that have lost loved ones in the attacks and repose the souls of the victims. And President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed conviction that with the recent measures put in place by his administration, sooner than later, the Boko Haram insurgency will be contained. He said this while in an audience with renowned Islamic scholar and leader of Tijaniya movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi, at his official residence. The president said, although the situation is not peculiar to Nigeria alone, the federal government will not relent until the menace is brought under control. He directs the nation's military and other security services to be more proactive, decisive, and if need be ruthless in smoking out and effectively take out the criminal elements. President Buhari, however, called on Nigerians to be more understanding and supportive with intelligence and prayers. He reassures the citizenry that justice will not be compromised in the implementation of the next level agenda. This, he says, will not only give sense of belonging to all Nigerians, but guarantee the desired unity, stability, and prosperity of the country. Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi, accompanied by some of his children, commiserated with the president over the recent killings of Nigerians by Boko Haram in Borno State and assured the president that members of the Tijaniya movement in Nigeria will continue to support his genuine efforts at making Nigeria better with prayers for divine intervention. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that during the visit, special prayers were offered for the nation and its leaders. We're not done with security matters. Politicization of security issues will not augur well for the nation. Guest on NTS Good Morning Nigeria, who made this emphasis also stressed the need for increased intelligence gathering by the security forces to target criminals and their sponsors, as well as prevent a disconnect in information management so that communities can take ownership of security at all levels. Leader Samson will tell us more.
The recent resurgence of attacks by Boko Haram as well as other forms of criminality has been attributed to an overspill from neighboring countries like Libya. The guests who commended sustained efforts of the military at tackling insurgency under the Buhari administration said such efforts must not be trivialized by diversionary sentiments.
So yes, incidents are back all over again, but I have a sense that we tend to be isolationist in our own thinking. We don't seem to appreciate all of the things that are happening regionally. Insurgency was born, insurgency was grown, it bloomed under an administration earlier than this one. And what President Muhammadu Buhari has done is to seek to end it.
While the security challenges are not peculiar to Nigeria and are already attracting stiffer measures from the African Union, the need to address the widening social inadequacies in society was also highlighted.
These security challenges that more or less now have been democratized, since it's gone to every nook and corner, it's a product of some of our actions and inactions in trying to infuse our own brand of very, very adverse politics into everything.
We living in Borno can bear testimony to the fact that there has been a progress. If you are to compare with what used to be the case, with what has happened between 2015 and especially 2017, like the governor did say. And then one thing nobody can take away from the president is that he is extremely sincere in the fight against Boko Haram. Nobody can challenge that. To my understanding, it was based on that sincerity that probably informed his decision in even bringing in Borno sons to hold key positions, because he knows that having an NSA from Borno, Chief of Army Staff from Borno, you don't expect them not to be committed in salvaging the situation.
The guests condemned in strong terms the promotion of sentiments that instigate the masses rather than educating them to outrightly decry those taking weapons against fellow citizens, stressing that politics of bitterness must not be condoned. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
In other news, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, has described as baseless, unfounded and mischievous reports in the social media indicating that President Muhammadu Buhari is billed to proceed on 20 days vacation to the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia and Austria. Reacting to the report, the presidential spokesperson maintained that the purveyors of fake and concocted information are currently on overdrive, urging Nigerians to be careful what they consume. Mr. Adesina said Nigerians must learn to be discriminatory about what they accept as credible information without authentication so as to collectively beat the malevolent minds at the Pericios Games. We'll bring you details of that in our subsequent bulletin. And at this point, we pause for some messages. We'll be back shortly, so you stay there.
Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, cordially requests the honor of your esteemed presence at the unveiling of the Green Chamber magazine. Date, Wednesday, 19th February. Venue, National Assembly Complex. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Guest of honor, Senator Ahmed Lawan, President of the Senate. Chairman, Alhaji Aminu Masari, Executive Governor of Katsina State. Keynote speakers, Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, Advocate of High Courts of Kenya and Tanganyika, Professor Magnus L. Pakol. This also serves as an invitation to all state governors, service chiefs, honorable ministers, heads of agencies, State House of Assembly speakers, and House of Representatives members. The Green Chamber magazine, telling our story, changing the narrative. RSVP 0805-885-2020.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070-197-73352 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Ray Power FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM, the Albino Foundation, the Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
It's like making a step while the world is going forward and the school is making a step backward.
The students, they sit on the floor, no chair for them. Even the classroom is nothing to write home about.
We have only one toilet, and that toilet is not good.
Going to that toilet is an eyesore. 980 people using one toilet.
My name is Yemi Adetunji, the COO downstream of NNPC. Ever since the closure of the borders, we have seen a marked reduction of about 10% in terms of the evacuation of what we call loadouts of PMS, which equates to about 6 million liters per day, essentially because of the border closure. Because of certain aspects we've also done as NNPC, working with our sister organizations, sister agencies, Nigerian Customs, DPR, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and other agencies, and also what we call Operation White, which is an intervention we have put in place to trace and track every molecule of petroleum products as they arrive in country through the vessels, as they move through the depots, and as they are evacuated with trucks out of the depots.
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their host this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Thanks for being there. Now, let's head to Lagos as we join Hingino John Adams for more reports on Nationwide, and I'm sure she'll bring update on flight cancellations and diversions. Hingino.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Lagos. The instrument landing system, which has been affecting flight operations at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, is presently undergoing calibration as key players in the sector hope for improved visibility to guarantee full flight operations. Michael Olale reports that cases of flight cancellation are rare except those that had their flights delayed.
With the Category 3 system, you'll be able to come down lower. And when you are closer to the runway, of course, you'll be able to see the runway, where it aids you in being able to see the runway better.
It was a statement that increased the ray of hope that the era of poor visibility
caused by harmattan haze, fog, and even rain will be a thing of the past. Less than 4 months after the installation of the Category 3 instrument landing system, the equipment is struggling to live up to expectation as flight cancellation, diversion, and delay are challenges inhibiting mobility at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Benga Deniji is making his first trip to Dubai, but his excitement is mixed with fear due to delay.
I've already booked a cab who's going to pick me up, but now everything, when we get there, is going to be around in the midnight, around that too. You know, it will be very hard, for you to get where you want to be.
To Marahashinja, the journey to India is closer than the hours spent at the airport, also due to flight delay.
Flight resume at 9:40, but we are still around till 4 o'clock because flight is around 7 hours. So we are just still doing the time pass. But the flight condition is good, the hotel facility is good, but not.
Although not all the airlines are affected by these developments, as some of them still guarantee takeoff and landing, but the surest bet is for the weather to improve until the Category 3 lander system is fully calibrated.
The determining factor is the weather. It's not just the air now because they have been fixed. The new one, the upgraded one that has been put to install is not yet clear for use. We have only have something we are using, which I put on in that Category 2, which is also say standard worldwide.
While the problem associated with the prevailing weather condition is beyond the capability of any organization in the industry, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is calling on operators to ensure that necessary measures are put in place to cushion the effects of flight delay or diversion on their passengers. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Away from aviation now. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Badagry Division, Lagos State, has arrested 2 suspects with 120 gallons of petroleum products. Uzezi Arure reports that the suspects, who are natives of Topo, were apprehended at Sand Beach, Badagry. A locally made flying boat and its engine were also recovered.
The anti-vandalism drive of the federal government at curtailing incessant pipeline vandalism in the country has resulted in the arrest of 2 siblings suspected to be vandals. Men of the anti-vandalism squad of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Badagry Division, who embarked on surveillance of the high sea, arrested the suspects as they perpetrated the criminal act.
The issue of vandalism around this area is down too much, and we are ready to eradicate it. We want the people of this place to help us and give us good information to minimize it.
The alleged suspects confessed to be transporting the products to Seme by ferry.
We collected the products at Ajudu, Badagry 3 days ago from a supplier. We were asked to convey the products to Seme, where the owner was to meet with us. We were to be paid 500 naira per gallon upon delivery of the products.
We had no idea the gallons contained petroleum products, but was sent to take them to Seme, where the owner of the product was to meet with us. This is our first time carrying out this illegal activity. We are fishermen by occupation.
The court says the suspects will be kept in custody until investigations are concluded. In Lagos, Uzezi Arure, NTA News.
Talking judiciary now. The Federal High Court Lagos has ruled that the head of operations Zenith Bank at Abuja branch, Johnson Abidakun, can testify as a prosecution witness in the ongoing fraud trial of the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and a firm, Spotless Investment Limited. Justice Chukwu Aneke gave the ruling at the resumed trial of the accused in Lagos. Tunde Saiki reports.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had brought Johnson Abidako in to replace a bullion vine driver with Zenith Bank Ado Ekiti branch, Adewale Aladegbola, who had earlier testified in the case. The prosecution counsel of EFCC, Rotimi Jacobs, SAN, had alleged that the testimony given by the bullion vine driver was different from the statement he wrote at the EFCC's office during investigation, and also alleged that the defendant, Ayodele Fayose, had gone behind to compromise the witness by threatening him. He argued further that since the case was just starting afresh before Justice Aneke, after it was transferred from retired Justice Mujisola Olatoregun, before whom the bullion van driver Adewale Aladegbola testified. But the defense counsels Ola Olanipekun SAN and Olalekan Ojo SAN opposed the prosecution's move, describing it as an abuse of court processes. At the resumed trial, the judge said the prosecution has every right to bring in a witness inasmuch as the witness statement will help to bring quick dispensation of the case.
We brought a witness and then they opposed that we cannot call him, that is not competent to give evidence. And we say no, the witness is capable, is able, is allowed under the law.
Our duty as lawyers is to present our arguments. It is for the court to decide one way or the other. We are satisfied with His Lordship's ruling.
The judge then adjourned the matter to the 5th and 6th of March 2020 for continuation of trial. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. It's now back to Ruth in Abuja. Ruth?
Thank you very much, Hingino. Welcome back to Abuja. Let's look at education matters. The management of the University of Abuja is poised to correct the wrong impression about the institution and make it one that will become a reference for excellence in the near future. Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Abdurrashid Na'Allah, who expressed this resolve to newsmen says already the process has begun. Abdullahi Musa Sulecha has all the details.
For long, University of Abuja has been immersed in controversies ranging from leadership to quality of programs. Recently, however, CAM has returned to the university, earning it accreditation of courses that were hitherto stopped, as well as approval for new ones by the NUC. Now, the management wants to consolidate on that by making entrepreneurship and studies of foreign languages as compulsory courses in all disciplines from 200 level. Emphasis on practicals is also being prioritized to enable its product appeal globally.
And to appeal globally, sometimes you need to have thought through this, you need to have prepared through this, sometimes you need a language skill. Students of this university will not only learn the ideas of being an entrepreneur, but will also be assisted to practice as entrepreneurs even while they are on campus, no matter what their major.
The university vows to go tough on airing lecturers and students as it will not compromise discipline, since character molding is part of the responsibility of educational institutions.
We will not leave any stone unturned. I will not leave anything, not sweep anything under the carpet. We will pursue to the end. Some of the things we did recently is evidence. It's about fulfilling the aspirations of our forefathers and especially the founders of this great UOA of Nigeria.
The university also plans to reclaim its encroached land, just as it is working to take advantage of the beautiful natural environment to make the campus a tourist destination for both Nigerians and foreigners alike. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
All right, let's look at diaspora voting. Contingents of Nigerians and diaspora from different continents are in Nigeria to once again make a case for diaspora voting. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports that the group's demand is leveraged on the implementation of same policy by about 20 countries in Africa, including Ghana. Now, joining us in the studio to throw more light on the diaspora voting workshop is Professor Ali Alao. Thank you very much, Professor Ali Alao. He's the representative Diaspora Voting Network Council. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Miss Ruth.
All right. Now, what can you tell us about this workshop you and your other diasporans are conversing on?
It's been beyond what we really anticipate. The turnout was exemplified in terms of the turnout from the people from diaspora. Until this very morning, we have some of the delegates from the West, mainly Africa, Asia. As far as Asia, South Africa was well represented at this very workshop. So, I mean, we were more than pleased to have this one of a kind of event in FCT Abuja.
Okay, but what would you say are some of the barriers hindering diaspora voting that must be addressed?
Basically, diaspora voting is nothing new in terms of electoral process in the continent Africa. Other parts of the world, even in this very Africa, we learned from the research. Some other countries already take this in, they've already taken the bold move. this is giant of Africa, Nigeria. We're supposed to be the pioneer. We're supposed to be the pace-setter when it comes to something of this magnitude. But unfortunately, we lacking behind. But I guess when the will is there, which I believe is the right time for us to push this thing further.
So what is this workshop aimed to achieve at the end of the day?
Basically, as we have all the key legislators in the House today in the workshop, in the like of the Speaker House of Assembly and the Senate President as is fully represented, INEC representatives were also there as well, and some other stakeholders, NGOs were well represented. I believe at the end of the day, it's no more saying that when is it going to be, but it's something that about to happen. And without that in my mind, with the kind of question that being posed to the legislators, I guess it's all a matter of amending the Constitution or ramification of the Constitution and make it something of reality, not in foreseeable, but in the near. It's just close by. It's just right around the corner. I believe, but before the next election, which is going to be taking place in 2023, I believe maybe in some of the key countries, because we also have to be realistic when it comes to diaspora voting. We won't say, okay, well, in every part of the world whereby Nigerians reside, there's going to be voting in those states.
Okay.
I.e., whereby you have maybe only 100 Nigerians residing there, and Nigeria has no embassy.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Ali Alo. I'm sure it's good you're very optimistic, as it's going to be part of your constitutional rights if things are put in the right perspective. Thank you very much. Yes, Professor Ali Alo is the representative, Diaspora Voting Network Council. All right, let's link up with Maiduguri as we join Abubakar Mohammed Musa to bring us more reports on Nationwide.
It's really good to see you, Ruth, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. The federal government has flagged off 40,000 transient jobs for women and youths in Damboa local government of Borno State. The project is under the Presidency's pilot special public works program in the rural areas being implemented in 8 states. Mohammed Goni reports that Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, alongside Minister of State for Labor and Employment Festus Keyamo, flagged off the program.
The 8 states selected for the pilot program for the special public work in rural areas of the Buhari administration include Adamawa, Borno, Ebonyi, Edo, Ekiti, Jigawa, Katsina, and Kwara. 5 local government areas are being selected in each state for the program, with 1,000 beneficiaries from each local government area selected. The special public work in rural areas involve deployment of youth and women of age between 18 to 30 to community development project sites within their localities for a period of 3 months, and each beneficiary is to receive a monthly allowance of 20,000 naira. Minister of State for Labor and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, said the Special Public Works Program is one of the initiatives of federal government to ensure that the poor citizens experience good things of life. Governor Babagana Umar said, with the relative peace, attention is now focused on resettlement, economic recovery and stabilization efforts, as well as empowerment of women and youth to be self-reliant.
We are going to strengthen our partnership with the National Director of Employment and indeed with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity to ensure we create jobs, develop the human capacity of the distressed and vulnerable population.
Director General of the National Directorate of Employment, Dr. Nasir Mohammed Ladan, said the choice of the project is through consultation and town hall meetings to ensure inclusiveness and participation, as well as to guarantee that peculiar needs of the populace are met. Beneficiaries were presented with environment-specific working tools to signal commencement of the program. In a related development, the National Directorate of Employment has set up 8,150 Borno citizens with different employment opportunities after their training. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
More than 4,000 internally displaced persons in camps and those taking refuge in host communities have benefited from the week-long medical outreach organized by Northeast Development Commission, NEDC. The exercise aims at mitigating the gaps in the demand for healthcare services as a result of armed conflict across the state. Naomi Aboku reports.
The free medical outreach by Northeast Development Commission is part of its medical outreach scheme to enhance healthcare service delivery with a view to improving well-being of affected persons as a result of the armed conflict in the Northeast. The NEDC Free Medical Care in its 5th day has witnessed influx of both displaced persons and residents of Maiduguri with different health needs to include common illnesses, consultations and counseling. So far, 4,200 people have received medical attention to include dental and eye surgeries, laboratory services, pharmaceutical and random theatre in addition to free eyeglasses and medications.
Wherever there's demand for this kind of services, we intervene. So we look at the cases, the analysis, the number of people needed for the care and so forth, then we now intervene.
The needs are way beyond what you can meet. No matter how much you do, no matter how long you do it. But you keep doing it because for that patient that was blind, they can now see.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much for what you are doing.
NEDC medical outreach is being carried out in collaboration with the Borno State Government, Pro Health International Africa, PHIA, and West African College of Surgeons, WACS. In Maiduguri, Naomi Aboku, NTA News.
Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, has reached out to 4,000 victims of Aunu Village Sunday night insurgency attack on the community and travelers. This followed the assessment visit by Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadia Umar Farouk, and the NEDC to Aunu in Kondoga local government area of Borno State. Here again is Naomi Aboku with more details of the story.
More than 800 households received food and non-food items as a way of meeting the immediate needs of affected persons after the assessment by Northeast Development Commission in synergy with national and state emergency management agencies.
One
1,000 households have been targeted by NEDC. However, most members of the community have fled the town. Managing Director Dr. Muhammad Gwani Alkali gave the assurance of the federal government's commitment to rebuild all destroyed houses and business facilities to enable the people regain their means of living.
We discovered that there need this is why we brought this quantity of food items so that we have stabilizing effect on what is happening.
The managing director, NEDC, had also extended palliative support to new arrivals stranded in front of one of the IDP's camps in Maiduguri with no warm clothing, food, and place to settle.
We are able to pick them from where they were in the open space. We have brought them to this place, and again, we have provided some food items.
We have to be very, very top of situation. You know, the vision of the governor is to close camp, but we still receive new arrivals.
The over 300 people, mostly women and children, from Kamla and Alo, both in Kondoga local government, were discovered following a passionate appeal that went viral on the social media. In Maiduguri, Naomi Aboku, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Maiduguri. Ruth in Abuja will be back with more stories on Nationwide after this commercial break.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
Lassa fever occurs when a person gets bitten by a rat carrying the Lassa virus. It is also contacted through the consumption of foods that have been contaminated by either the saliva, urine, or excreta of the rats. Lassa fever is deadly, so protect yourself and loved ones from it. Keep rats away from your homes. Ensure that leftover foods are properly covered at night and heat up properly before consumption. Wash fruits properly before you eat. Maintain regular hand wash with soap and water, as well as environmental sanitation. Report all feverish conditions and bleeding from the nose or mouth to the health facility nearest to you, and don't indulge in self-medication. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA.
Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their host this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Thanks for your patience. Thanks for staying with us. National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshomole, has donated food items to internally displaced persons in Taraba State. Joseph Ordston reports that 200 bags of rice were distributed to different camps across the state to reduce food crisis.
These are common scenes at internally displaced persons camps across Taraba State. Women, children, and the elderly living without adequate food, water, sanitation, and other basic needs of life. These victims of violent crisis are scattered in various camps in not less than 10 local government areas of the state and in dire need of humanitarian aids. Catering for them has been a great burden to host communities and government who have been supportive with relief materials. The plight of the displaced persons has reached the national chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC, Adams Oshomole. He made personal donations of 200 bags of rice to reduce food crisis in the camps. State chairman of APC, Ibrahim Tuku El Sudi, presented the items to various camp heads for distribution on his behalf.
Donation to IDPs in Taraba State from Comrade Adams Oshomole, national chairman, APC. Allocation paper. This is to certify that Mr. Danlami Yu Kwambo from Nukai IDP camp in Taraba State has collected 25 bags of rice.
I want to honestly thank our national chairman for the goodwill of this offer, to particularly to all the northeastern states.
Da inda kuka bamu kuka ce mana kuma mu je mu yi adalci kamar inda kuka nuna mana adalci za mu yi ma mutane mu.
Communal crisis in different parts of Taraba State has forced thousands to abandon their homes and take refuge in IDP camps. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTA News.
And Port Harcourt is our next stop on Nationwide as we join Jenny for more reports.
Thank you, Ruth. Good evening and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abubakar, has commenced the handover of 36 new sites to contractors for the continuation of the implementation of UNEP report on Ogoni land remediation project. Emmanuel Lene reports that the exercise was done in Eleme, River State.
9 contractors were presented new sites to remediate at Eletu Eleme as part of the 36 new sites in the Phase 1 Batch 2 High Prep Cleanup Project. Out of the 36 sites, 29 are for remediation, while 7 are for groundwater monitoring. Whilst reciting the support, the minister contends that the new sites, which are complex impacted, will boost economic activities and employment generation.
The objective of this government is to make sure youth are engaged, are given employment, and this is quite an opportunity.
Some of the community leaders pledged support for the project, but expressed reservation over the non-inclusion of Eleme indigents among the contractors.
We are competent contractors
who can handle the job.
If you are a contractor, people of Ogali will give you 100 cooperation, and we will hope you are not going to try to shortchange us.
The minister was bestowed with the chieftaincy title as the chief cleaner of Eleme land. Earlier, the minister also paid a visit to Governor Wike, who expressed his reservation so far.
The only way we can succeed is when we work together. But if you take it as a political program, it will not work.
In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Contractors handling federal road projects in south region of the country have been directed to ensure the roads are motorable before this year's rainy season. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola gave the directive while inspecting ongoing road projects in Akwa Ibom and other states in South. Clement Barikwe report.
The visit to federal roads in Akwa Ibom State took the Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola to the 39-kilometer Ikodekpene road, where he disclosed that the project had to be re-awarded to a new and bigger contractor because of the federal government's dissatisfaction with the first contractor. At the Kalabaitu Road project, the minister said the contractors will no longer have reason to suspend work as enough funds will be made available to them through the federal government's Sukuk bond to be issued this year.
I want you, between now and March, all the bad sections, make it motorable first. Okay? That's what the president wants. That's what the government wants. That's what the ministry wants.
The minister was briefed on the progress of work so far on the various projects by the Federal Controller of Works at Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Nkeruwem Ukpong, who promised effective supervision of the project to ensure they are delivered on specification.
There's also another bridge in Akwa Ibom State at Abuja 30 plus 500.
With the federal government present here in repairing this road, it will become very easy for us to buy some products.
The major road projects inspected are critical to the socio-economic development of the linked states. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. Is now back to you, Ruth, in Abuja.
Many thanks, Jenny. Now let's talk coronavirus. We hear of 99 cases recorded in Diamond Princess cruise ship. Well, we have for us here is the concern is Africa, and we have the Director General of West African Health Organization, that is Professor Stanley Okolo, join us in the studio. Thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you.
Now, what does the West African Health Organization represent, and what impact is it making in the sub-region?
The West Africa Health Organization, as you may know, is the health institution of ECOWAS. So ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, has 5 institutions, and West Africa Health Organization is the one for health. ECOWAS is there for regional integration, and identically that is what all the departments and institutions are there for. So WAHO is for how we improve regional integration and also improve population of the health or population health in West Africa through integration. So we represent services that are cut across countries as opposed to services that are limited to only one country.
Okay, so what sort of collaboration exists between the sub-region in terms of disease surveillance, especially with the threat? We have a case in Egypt, one case in Egypt. So what kind of collaboration exists?
This is really one of the areas where WAHO has come to the fore, because following on the experience of Ebola, we understood that it's one for all, and the protection of one country is dependent on the protection of others in the region, because diseases, particularly epidemics, know no boundaries. So we have a network of what we call the National Public Health Institutions, or the National Coordinating Institutions, that represent the best in holding together surveillance, reporting, preparedness and response in each country. So in Nigeria here, you know about the NCDC.
Yeah.
We have similar NCDCs, even though they are not called NCDCs, in all 15 countries. And WAHO is the one that promotes the setting up of these NCDCs, trains their personnel, links them up in terms of network practice, creates regional reference laboratories, and also continues to build the whole issue of preparedness. Going to coronavirus, it was specifically for that, even though we already had been preparing for epidemics, that WAHO convened this meeting of all the health ministers of the 15 countries in Bamako on Friday.
Yes, I was going to ask you
agree a strategic regional approach to coronavirus.
In terms of capacity, would you say Africa is ready?
I think I would say in the first instance, Africa could be readier, but this is a rapidly changing situation. So let me talk to you about laboratories that have the capacity to test. As of 3 weeks ago, in our region, we probably had only 2, Ghana and Senegal. Then we did a lot of training. Now we have 5, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire.
South Africa, you mean, and Senegal?
No,
okay.
I will come to that.
Okay.
So it's Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Senegal. Now, that is to test. By next week, following what we are doing in terms of training and implementation, we will have all 15 countries. In Africa as a whole, at the moment, we have 18 countries. Now, after you've tested for the virus to say if it is positive or not, we still suggest, and it is imperative, that we go on to what we call sequencing, which is the complex analysis to help us monitor if this virus is changing, is it the same virus, and also to keep a record. That can only be done at the moment in Africa, in Senegal and South Africa.
Okay, so finally, there's this trending video of a Cameroonian who was infected with the virus but later cured, just on a lighter note, and he made a comment about the disease, the virus being immune to the gene of Africa. How would you react to that?
As you well know, the video is trending, but only on Friday, Egypt confirmed their case. So I would absolutely urge everyone not to relax that there is nothing special about the gene of Africa. It is most important what individuals do to protect themselves. And therefore, as much as possible, if you have had any episode of either travel to China or you have some high fever that you think with coughing and shortness of breath, isolate yourself, contact a health professional, and we will look after you.
Thank you very much, Professor Stanley Okolo. He's the Director General, West African Health Organization, and we've been talking about coronavirus.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's link up with Sokoto right away as we join Abdurrahman Usman Jabrila.
Good evening, Ruth, and welcome to Sokoto. Zamfara State Government is to construct a chamber and provide a bus for children parliament to encourage them to participate in governance and future responsibilities. Governor Bello Muhammad stated this at the inauguration of the 5th Children Parliament of the state. Haliru Muhammad Umar reports.
Children's Parliament is an official platform designed to enhance children's participation and equip them with the necessary leadership skills as future leaders. The inauguration of the 5th Zamfara State Assembly, which took place at the instance of the State Governor Bello Muhammad, saw the taking of oath of allegiance and that of office by the members.
As a member of the Children's Parliament, as the 5th Assembly of Zamfara State Children's Parliament is inaugurated, it has opened a new quest in our page to promote good governance, child development, child participation, and child survival.
Zamfara State Commissioner for Women, Children and Social Development Zainab Lawal Gumi said members of the parliament are between the ages of 12 to 15 years, stressing that the assembly provides opportunity for good governance.
The children, through the parliament, are to advise government and its agencies responsible for lawmaking and implementing policies that will improve the rights and welfare of children.
Governor Bello Muhammad expressed satisfaction with the performance of the parliamentarians, saying it has encouraged him to do more towards ensuring the development of children.
We need our children to be more vibrant, and we need you people to be up to date. We are going to do everything that you require because we want you to be the leaders of tomorrow.
The governor, who congratulated the members of the 5th Assembly, urged them to get acquainted with political processes and participate in decision-making. In Gusau, Halir Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. Back to Ruth in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much. And let's talk sports with Olumide Egunto.